inshallah. الحمد لله رب العالمين حمدا يوافي نعمه ويكافئ مزيدا والصلاة والسلام على خير الأنام وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. إننا نوينا التعلم والتعليم والتذكر والتذكير والنفع والانتفاع والإفادة والاستفادة والدعاء إلى الهدى والدلالة على الخير والحث والتمسك بكتاب الله وسنة رسول الله ابتغاء مرضات الله وقربه وثوابه سبحانه وتعالى. Praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, praise that's worthy of beneficent bestower of bounties and favors. And we ask our Lord Most High to send copious and eternal and unlimited blessings upon our beloved Prophet Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sahbihi wasallam. And we also recognize that the land that we hold this class is Aboriginal land, and we pay our respects to their elders past and present. So we continue inshallah azza wa jal with the book of Imam al-Haddad. It's on page 93, are we not? Okay, so we can continue. It says قال المؤلف رحمه الله رضي الله عنه وعنكم نفعنا به وبكم إياك وأن تكسر قلب مسلما برد صنيعته عليه وأنت تعلم أن الواصل إليك على يده إنما هو من الله حقيقة وإنما هو واسطة مسخر مقهور وفي الحديث من أتاه شيئا من غير مسألة ولا استشراف نفس فرده فإنما يرده على الله. So we continue with this chapter. It was about gift giving and receiving gifts and the mutual acceptance of favors. So if someone wants to do you a favor or do a good deed towards you, that the prophetic character, the prophetic tradition is to accept that deed. And the same thing goes with the gift. The Prophet ﷺ, he never refused the gift except in circumstances which the Imam mentioned. So he says on the second last paragraph on page 93, he says, when a Muslim does you a favor, you must accept it and thank and reward him. Sorry, that's the other one around. It's the last paragraph. Never break a Muslim's heart by refusing what he or she offers you, when you know that anything that comes to you through him is in reality from God, and he is only his powerless and compelled means. In the Prophet also mentioned, anyone who has given something he has neither asked nor longed for and refuses it has refused to take it from God. So it says from the hadith there. So when we look at this aspect of gift giving, look, it's something that really doesn't go on as much as it should, particularly in our community, particularly that alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen, we live in a quite affluent society, so socio-economically we don't really have those major demands on our finances, alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. And those who don't have responsibility of households and things like that, they have more disposable income than other people. So in reality, the believer should be using that income, that disposable income in particular, either for something like Umrah or Hajj or marriage or start some business or whatever it might be, or otherwise if someone hasn't got a goal like that yet they've got disposable income, then that money should be used to buy one's akhirah. إِنَّ اللَّهَ اشْتَرَى مِنَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ أَمْوَالَهُمْ وَأَنفُسَهُمْ بِأَنَّ لَهُمُ الْجَنَّةِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He's purchased from the believers themselves and their finances and their wealth in order that the recompense is paradise. So you're actually buying it. You're buying shares, if you like. They have that time share where every year you pay a little bit and then at the end you get it. It's like that. So you're actually buying Jannah. You're buying Jannah two ways: by using yourself to do good deeds and serve others, and by using your finances, by using your money to do so. So if you've got a disposable income and you're not saving for a car, for whatever it might be, some tangible thing, then that money needs to be used to buy your hereafter. And one of the great ways to do it is to buy a present for someone. Now a sadaqah, it's worth 10. A sadaqah, if you give sadaqah on someone or to someone, it's worth 10 rewards, each dollar or each as a minimum. Yet a hadiyah is worth 18. Previously we did this in one of the other chapters. A hadiyah, a gift that you give to someone, is worth 18 rewards. Can anyone remember why? Because the sadaqah is from up to down, so to speak. From someone of entitlement, one might say, to someone who's disenfranchised. Whereas a gift, you're giving a gift on par. when you give a gift to someone, generally speaking, it's you're giving to someone who's on the same, so to speak, level as yourself. And so the rewards increase because there's no breaking of the heart of the person that you're giving it to. It's the opposite. So someone who's taking sadaqah, they might feel, in other words, charity, they might feel compelled to take that because of their own personal circumstances. Whereas when you're giving someone a gift, everyone's happy to receive a gift. No one's not happy to receive a gift, even if it's something that one may or may not like. And so, بتفرح القلوب, it makes the heart of the person receiving the gift glad and pleased. And so that's why, according to what the ulama say, that's the reason why it's actually more of a reward. So we all want to give sadaqah, and it's a good thing to do. But we should divide our spending in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to please Allah between sadaqah. I would say that's for people overseas. Like for example, Yemen at the moment, there's a crisis happening in Yemen. They're verging on famine there, and people are dying of starvation, children in particular. So you want to give sadaqah, my advice is give it to Yemen through one of the reputable agencies. As we know, Shaykh Haisam al-Ch24.Cl07, his Muslim aid is, in my view, very reputable. They're a good one to give it to. The administration fees are very low, if not even non-existent. So give sadaqah to those kind of people, especially you don't see them, etc. There's no breaking of the hearts in that regard. But amongst your friends, amongst your family, mum, dad, it's good to give presents to your mum and dad, not always taking from your parents. From your brothers, your sisters, your cousins, your neighbours, your friends, non-Muslims, as we said, people that aren't part of your belief system and spiritual structural system, that for the reason to bring them closer to Allah, inshallah, in the first instance, to the deen in the second instance, and to you, inshallah, as a believer, inshallah, azza wa jal. So it's important to divide that out, to give gifts, because giving gifts is something that's, the Prophet also mentioned it, tahaddu tahabbu. Give gifts between yourselves, and it'll increase the love between your hearts. And if that love is not there, we can't come together as a community. We can't be unified in anything that we do. One of the issues that we have, how often do we give gifts between each other? And he said, one must understand that never break a Muslim's heart by refusing what she offers you, when you know that anything that comes to you through her is in reality from Allah Azza wa Jal, and she is only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is His powerless and compelled means. So to reject someone's present, no matter how trivial or how minor it might be, leads to the breaking of the heart of the gift giver. And again, what does that do? That creates division. It creates enmity as well. Why are you refusing my gift? Isn't my gift good enough? Or is it me that's not good enough? So for us, we have to understand that, and this is what the Imam's saying, that actually when we're receiving a gift, when we're getting something from someone, that's actually Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that is giving us the gift. In particular, when, and the Arabic he says here, without min ghayri mas'ala, without asking, with ghayri istishraf nafs or qalb. So if a person's asking for it or they're hinting at it, people do that all the time. Oh yeah, it's a nice whatever ring. I wish I had one like that. The other time, I was going to get a ring like that, but I didn't have the money. Okay, that's istishraf qalb as well. That's both things. Well, mas'ala is asking, verbally asking, and istishraf qalb is when one seeks to have that thing, seeks to possess that thing in their hearts. So as long as the gift is given to you and you haven't, someone gives you, let's say example, a ring or whatever it might be, you haven't sought to take that thing, to have that thing in your heart, then it's fine to take that gift. Should that come into your heart, one has to think about it. Why did I think like that? Why was it that I let myself go to that level when to lower myself to that level where my heart sought something of the dunya, of extra, one might say, something that I didn't necessarily need, that was someone else's possession or someone else had or was using, as the case might be. That's not the condition of the believer, because we seek these things from Allah Azza wa Jal. If you seek, if you ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And to reject it It's as if they've refused to take it from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah Azza wa Jal يحب أن تأتى رخصا. So that means when you're traveling, Allah gives you the gift. Instead of praying Dhuhr 4, you only have to pray 2 rak'at, or Asr 4, you only have to pray 2, or Isha 4, you only have to pray 2. Don't tell me you want to pray it 4. Pray 2. Because it's a gift from Allah Azza wa Jal. It's a rukhsa. It's a dispensation. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves it when it's a gift. He loves it when we take our gifts, subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, they're the things we've got to consider. He says, وَفِي الرَّدِّ آفَاتْ عَظِيمَةً وَهِيَ أَنَّ الْعَامَّ مَجْبُولٌ عَلَى تَعْظِيمِ مَنْ يَرَدْ صِلَاتِهِمْ عَلَيْهِمْ. So he said, a great disadvantage attaches to refusal, namely that the common folk are accustomed to respecting those who refuse their gift. And it may be that some devout, no, that's the next part of it, and he says, فَرُبَّمَا كَانَ الْحَامِلِ لِبَعْضِ النُّسَاكِ عَلَى الرَّدِّ التَّظَاهِرِ بِالزُّهُدِ حِرْصًا مِنْهُ عَلَى حُصُولِ الْمَنْزِلَ عِنْدَهُمْ وَمِنْ هَا هُنَا كَانَ بَعْض الْمُحَقِّقِينَ يَأْخُذُ مِنْ أَيْدِي النَّاسِ ظَاهِرًا ثُمَّ يَتَصَدَّقُ بِهِ سِرًّا. Says, and it may be that some devout people are motivated by their refusal, by the wish to display asceticism, so that they be thought of highly, which is why a certain authority used ostensibly to accept and secretly dispose of such gifts charitably. Alright, so this is about the particular environment and the particular community that Imam al-Haddad was living in at the time. And I think it's peculiar to Arabs as well. It may or may not be peculiar to other cultures. So what the Imam's talking about, says a great disadvantage, namely the common people are accustomed to respecting those who refuse their gifts. I don't know if we're like that, not that I can recall off the top of my head. So in the Arab culture was if someone didn't take your gift, that meant that he's ghani, he's not in need of your gift, not in need of you. And so the common people, the regular, so to speak, regular Joes as they call them, the regular people, Tom, Dick and Harry, isn't that what they say? Those people, they would find that, wow, this person, look, they're not in need of my gifts, so they don't want to take my gifts. And so people would respect the people who refuse the gifts. And then what used to happen, he's saying that maybe some devout people, some nusak, people who are devout in terms of their ibadah, their worship to Allah, they're constantly involved in ibadah, and it's known that they're involved in ibadah. Why would they refuse gifts? To show that they're zahid, ascetic. In other words, I'm not involved with the dunya. I don't need to be, I don't want to take things because of my ittijah in life. My focus in life is not dunyawi. It's for the akhirah, and so it created that opinion so that the people would respect them. And that's not something that we should do. That's not something that we should be involved in. We should accept the gift of whoever gives us a gift. We should make sure that inshallah, particularly there's some conditions where we don't have to do that, and we'll go into those now. But generally speaking, as we said, the gift giving, ta'lif al-qulub, it brings the hearts together. It allows people, inshallah, to connect with one another. That so-and-so gave me a gift. It softens the hearts also. And it says that there were some of the Salih. He says, وَمِنْ هَا هُنَا كَانَ بَعْضُ الْمُحَقِّقِينَ يَأْخُذُ مِنْ أَيْدِ النَّاسِ ظَاهِرًا ثُمَّ يَتَصَدَّقْ بِهِ سِرًّا. So the real muhaqqiqeen, those people who truly practiced, and the word that he uses in English is, or certain authorities. Al-muhaqqiq is someone who knows their faith and they practice it in the best manner, in the best kayfiyya, in the best style, in the best application more correctly. So their application of the sharia is to a very high and a very excellent level. The muhaqqiqeen, whatever they know, they bring into practice in a most excellent fashion. So what they used to do is, they used to take the gifts from whoever would give them the gifts, and then they would give it fi sabilillah, to saddaq to someone else, because they weren't actually in need, but they didn't want to break the hearts of those people giving them gifts. So he says, وَقَدْ يَجِبُ الرَّدْ في مسائل وقد يندب. So he says sometimes it's, but refusal may become either obligatory or recommended in some situations. Alright, refusal may become either obligatory or recommended in some situations. So sometimes when a gift is given, it's an obligation for you to return it. You must let people know that, look, this isn't right to do, and I'm not allowed to take that gift. And other times, it's sunnah to return it. So he says the first situation, من هنا أن يحمل ويحمل إليك ما تعلم أو تظن بعلامة أنه حرام أو تحمل إليك صدقة واجبة على ظن أنك من أهلها وأنت لست كذلك. He says something may be given to you which you either know or have evidence that is illicit, in other words haram, or a conical charity may be given to you on the assumption that you are deserving when you are not. So in these situations, these two scenarios, it's haram for a person to accept a gift in these two scenarios. The first one being is that you know it's haram. You know, or you have evidence to suggest غلبة الظن. What does he say? تعلم أو تظن, that you got the doubt. The doubt is there. You're pretty doubtful about the thing that you've received. You're pretty sure, or the doubt is there that it's not halal, that someone's stolen it, they've got it in an inappropriate haram way. Haram to accept that gift. You must not accept it. Or return it if you find out later on. So he says a conical charity, wajiba, so obligatory. So if someone gives you charity, for example. There's 8 different categories of people who take zakat. That's the wajib, sadaqah is zakat. So you're not one of those 8 categories. They give you the charity, they say, oh, this is my zakat money. Haram for you to take it, you've got to return it. Or if you're a sayyid, if you're from al-Bayt or al-Bayt, then it's haram for you to accept sadaqah. So you've got to give that sadaqah back or not take it in the first instance. In those two scenarios, it's haram to do so. The second scenario, وَمِنْهَا أَنْ يَكُونَ الْمُسْدِي إِلَيْكَ ظَالِمًا مُصِرًا عَلَى الظُّلْمِ وَتَخْشَى إِذَا قَبِلْتَ مَعْرُوفًا أَنْ قَلْبَكَ يَمِيلُ إِلَيْهِ أو تداهن في الدين ويغلب على ظنك أنك متى قبلت شيئا يصير بحيث لا يقبل منك ما تلقيه إليه من الحق. It says that the giver may be unjust and persistently so. So the word that he uses is zalim. So in other words, a tyrannical person. Someone who takes the ugliest thing of all the ugly creations is dhulm, is oppression, tyranny. To take people's rights unjustly, to not give people their due and their rights, is the ugliest of sins. It's the ugliest of all manifestations in the cosmos. So if someone is like that, they're a gangster, they're a drug dealer, they're whatever, and they don't care. Because that's what he says. Not that just they do it. Musir ala dhulm. Musir. The person is, what does he say in English? Persistently so. And those that don't care. They know it's haram, they know it's dhulm, but for whatever reason, they keep doing it. So in that scenario, if you fear that if you accept the favor, your heart will lean towards that person and away from what is right, in that situation, the nadab comes. They should return that gift or not accept that gift.
Is that the obligatory or the optional?
This one is subjective. It's subjective to the person. The first one relates to the actual gift itself and the circumstances surrounding the gift. Whereas the second one relates to you. If you know the guys of the line and you know that if you accept the gift, you can still affect that person and that they'll still, and the other thing is, you may know from the person's behavior, the man's behavior, we'll say that the zalimin, that he means by his favors to lead you away from the way of God by means of causing you to assist him in committing an injustice or neglecting a right. Okay? Actually, that's the next part. No, he didn't go into that much detail in the English. He says, "An qalbaka yamilu ilayhi aw tadahinuhu fi din." So if your heart itself starts to incline towards this person, in other words, you start to like this person, they're a zalim, they're an oppressor, They're taking people's rights when they're stealing money. They're, whatever, on the Centrelink, and they know it and they don't care, and they say, well, I work and I take my billah. They take that thing from that. So if it's from a haram source, of course, it reverts back to the first one. But in the second instance, if you start to like the zalim, oh yeah, look, he's a drug dealer, but he's pretty cool. Whatever. He's one of those standover dudes, but he's pretty cool, he's a good bloke. He's got a Harley or whatever, well, not to stereotype anyone, whatever, he's got a fast car or a popular car or whatever the case might be, or wears these types of clothes or whatever the case might be. Okay? أو يغلب على ظنك أنك متى قبلت شيئا يصير بحيث لا يقبل منك ما تلقيه إليه من الحق. So what's the Prophet say عليه الصلاة والسلام? انصر أخاك ظالما أو مظلوم. Support, assist your brother, whether they are the oppressor or the oppressed. And the Sahaba said, Ya Rasulullah, we know that how to help the oppressed, but what about the oppressor? Stop that person from their oppression. So if you take the gift, don't think these guys don't know what they're doing. They know by giving you a gift, that's it, he's with me. And so that anytime you go to say something to remind that person who's being tyrannical, being oppressive, that look, sorry champ, what you're doing is wrong. Then they say, no, I'm not going to listen to this person anymore because I bought him with the gifts, with the gold, with the cash, with the cars, with whatever they've bought. So if that situation occurs, then it's nadban, there's a different thing. Okay? They might be tyrannical, but their money might be halal. Or you don't know where the source of the money comes from. So this goes to, again, if you doubt that that person will listen to you and you won't be able to stop that person from doing oppression, then don't accept the gift. Yeah? Yes?
Would it be haram to accept the gift or like sunnah not to accept
So it's sunnah, okay, unless you know the source of the gift in itself is haram. So as I said, it's subjective. The first one is objective. It goes to the object itself, the gift. Is it from a haram source? Mutlaqan it's haram. The second one, the first one also relates to the conditions objectively of the person who can take the zakat. If you don't fall into that, or the sadaqah, if you don't fall into those conditions, those 8 different types of people, or you're from al-bayt and you can't take sadaqah because it's haram, then it's mutlaqan haram. The second scenario is, if the first aspect relates to it with someone who's an oppressor, then it's haram. If not, then it's mandub. It's, in other words, it's better for you not to take it because what are you doing around someone who's an oppressor if you can't help them get off and stop their oppression? Yep. Yallah. Well, we'll continue after that. If anyone has to go make wudu.
To pause this?
Yeah, pause it, inshallah. Inshallah Azza wa Jal.
Inshallah.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على خير الأنام وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم ومنها أن تعلم أن قال المؤلف رحمه الله رضي الله عنه وعنكم ونفعنا به وبكم ومنها, so also from the affairs, أن تعلم أن حال إنسان أنه يقصد بصلته إدلالك عن سبيل الله لمساعدته على باطل أو ترك حق. You may know from, it's middle of 94, page 94, you may know from the man's behavior that he means by his favors to lead you away from the way of Allah, the way of God, by means of causing you to assist you. That's all this one. بِتَرْكِ حَقٍّ. So it's to, sometimes a person gives a gift with the intention of the gift beneficiary, the person receiving the gift, being deceived, doing something that Allah Azza wa Jal wouldn't like, or going away from the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then he gives the example, he says, وَمِنْ هَذَا الْقَبِيلِ, and along these lines, مَا يَأْخُذُ الْقَاضِ وَالْعَامِلُ وغيرهما من موالات الأمور من الخصمين أو أحدهما إذا ترافع إليهم وهذا هو الرشوة المحرم. So he says of this nature is anything taken by a judge, a governor, or any other person in authority from either one or both litigants in a case lodged before him. This is prohibited bribery. So what happens is the person wants to affect the outcome of a circumstance, of a situation, an arbitration, a mediation, an adjudication, as the case might be, by giving somebody a gift. So this happens in a lot of places. It used to happen a lot in Australia. I remember they used to say that when the police used to pull people over, they used to just give him, I remember just give him $20. $20 is a lot of money back in the day, but they cleaned out the police system, they cleaned out a lot of the system. So on a basic level, there's not much corruption, alhamdulillah, in Australia. It's very hard to find, alhamdulillah. But in a lot of other countries, unfortunately Arab countries, you can't get anything done unless you bribe people. And that's how the judges, that's how the judiciary works, that's how the politicians work, and that's haram. La yajuz. To take someone's haqq by bribery is haram. The only time it's permitted, so if you're ever in that situation, one time when I came from Jazira al-Arabiya, from Hajj to Syria, and the guy at the passports office in Syria wouldn't stamp my passport to go in. He wants money. He won't stamp it. That's it. Oh, he gets up and goes and comes, and are you still here? And is that your passport? And what do you want? Again, what do you want? What do you want? He knows what I want. That's his job. His job. He sits at the desk, make sure your papers are right, and he stamps the passport. So I had to give him 50 Syrian. I don't know how much it is, like $5 or something. It's not much money. In that situation, if you're giving someone a bribe, so to speak, to get your haqq, that's your right, then it's permissible. But because there's no way around it. You'll make me sit there, will tell me to go back, this, that. It's a big problem. So if you're giving someone because they're an oppressor money, and it's your right to get what it is that you're getting, then it's okay in that situation. That's the only time it's permissible. So particularly if you travel in certain countries, that is prevalent when I was in the But otherwise, if it's, for example, my passport's expired, or in that same scenario, or I don't have the right visa to get into the country or whatever, then I give the guy the 50 Syrian dollars, whatever it's called, lira, to get in, and I don't have a right, then it's haram. Do you understand the difference? Yeah? Alright. It's because he's corrupt that I have to be involved in that corruption. So in particular, if you're in a position of authority, or even if two people, if you're not in a pit, they come to you and they say, look, we've got a dispute, we want you to decide between us. Then one of them gives you whatever he gives you to influence you. It's haram to take that. Haram mutlaqan. And absolutely. ولو تتمات مذكور من مواضعها فعليك بالرد في جميع هذه المسائل المذكورة. So, in this situation, you must therefore refuse any gifts under any of the above mentioned circumstances, of which there are others which shall be mentioned in the appropriate place. Okay? So there's another, we won't go any further than that, inshallah ta'ala. So there's another type of gift that one needs to be aware of, and it's more wara'an than shar'an. So there was one of the mashayikh, one of the Muslim finance organizations sent him a gift, the ajwa dates, the dates of Medina. Prophet ﷺ talked about these ajwa dates. They're the best quality dates, and there's different brands and different levels. So they're probably worth about a couple $100 a kilo. They're very top of the range ones. So then he sent it back to the people, back to the finance organization. And then the manager from that finance organization, the Muslim finance here in Australia, rang him and said, why'd you send the dates back? He said, because I'm a person, I'm a sheikh. People come and ask me about, is it halal to invest or to have whatever, to be associated with that financial institution. And if I take the dates from you, then I'm compromised. So even though he's entitled to take the dates shar'an, he's entitled to do that. But wara'an, we talk about shara, shara is what is halal and haram, or wara is scrupulousness. There was a whole chapter on it, probably a while ago now.
Investigations.
To make the investigations. But in this situation, it's clear where it is. So the Shaykh didn't want to take the dates so he wouldn't be compromised. Because if someone says to him, in himself, so maybe it goes a little bit to the first example, but there's no zulm, there's no tyranny, it's a little bit different. It's only about, those ones are clear about halal and haram. This is about legitimate, I suppose, I imagine, finance institution sends the Shaykh. They sent to a number of prominent people in the community, and they sent one to him, and he sent it back. The reason he doesn't want to taint himself or corrupt his heart, so that if someone says, "Oh, is this institution halal?" because he got the dates, he might be inclined to say, "Yeah, they're all right." Or there's some question that can go 50-50, and instead of being very clear on it, that he might be inclined to support that organisation because those dates come. And every year they would send them. They stopped sending to him. Apparently, they sent the first year, sent it back, and the second year sent it back. Then they got the picture. So it's something that an individual has to consider when they're dealing with other individuals. One has to consider, what is the effect of me, in particular if you're a person in some sort of authority, whatever it may be. You're in charge of a building, or whatever authority it may be. One has to be careful into, why am I receiving these gifts? And another gift that we should be careful of is a gift that can be ribawi. In other words, riba means extra. So you lend someone $100. Do we lend people 100, or is that not enough? 1,000? 500? So you lend someone, you guys have got heaps of money. $10,000, mashallah. Lend someone $10,000, and later on, they start giving you gifts. So in that scenario, it's haram to take that gifts, atar, whatever they give you, unless normally you were giving gifts between each other before you gave that loan. No. Yeah? Alright, so if normally there was your friend, and normally you would give gifts to each other, okay, then you lent the money and they're still giving gifts, that's okay. But if you weren't used to giving gifts and receiving gifts from each other, you lent the person the money, to take a gift is riba, and it's haram. So Imam Abu Hanifa, if he lent someone money, and we've spoken about this previously, with his level of wara, if he lent someone money, he wouldn't stand in the shade of their homes, because back in the day, each house had a big wall around it, so inside the house people couldn't see. So he wouldn't stand in the shade of someone's wall, because if the proprietor of the home, came out and saw him, and he knows that he owes Abu Hanifa money, he won't tell him, "Look, mate, take a hike. We don't want you to stand close to the wall, because there's privacy, there's private things going on behind the wall. We don't want you to hear something." So that's the wara that Abu Hanifa had. He would take no advantage from anyone, because he didn't want to fall into riba, usury, or taking extra for a loan given. So they're the other types of gifts we need to be aware of, and make sure that we don't fall into that unknowingly, inshallah. Are there any questions about anything? Any questions about anything to do with the dars or outside of the dars?
Yeah. Is riba gifts? So for the gifts of riba, is that the gifts that are given before the installment is made, or even after installment is made?
Anytime during the loan period.
During the loan period.
Yeah, during the loan period. Because riba is anything extra. They pick you up, they give you a lift, for example. "Oh, no, I'll take you." If they don't normally take you for a lift and give you a lift to wherever you need to go, I know you got 10 grand, you should be able to get your own car anyway if you're lending out 10 grand. But as an example, someone's going to give you a lift, someone's going to, lend you their hijab, their jubba, their imam, whatever it might be, I don't know, whatever, or their bike, whatever. And that's not the normal practice between yourself and the person you've lent money, then don't accept it. Because it ends up being a riba. It's extra to the loan. What's the reason they're lending it to? What's the reason they're giving you the gift? Because they owe you money. It's haram. That's our deen. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, it's like that. Otherwise, people become imprisoned when Allah with interest and usury. Alright, any questions about any of those things or anything else? At all? Alhamdulillah, wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad wa sallam, wa sallallahu ala yadina wa yadikum wa yafatna wa fukum. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala yifta alaykum fitu al-arifin wa yaj'alkum min al-muqarribin ilayhi fi al-hayati ba'd al-mamat. اللهم آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. نسألك يا رحم الرحمن أن تدفع البلايا والفتن والمحن عن أمة النبي عليه الصلاة والسلام، أن ترد وأن تعفو عنهم وأن تغفر لهم وأن ترحمهم وأن تردهم إلى دينك ردا جميلا يا أكرم الأكرمين. نسألك أن تهدينا وأن تهدينا واجعلنا سببا لمن اهتدى. اللهم اجعلنا من الذين يستمعون القول ويتبعون أحسن. ربنا